What's going on, guys? It's Adam P and welcome back to more Newcastle United news. 2-0 win against Tottenham last night at St James's Park, which means 5 wins in our last 6 games. What a result, and also what a cup draw. Fulham in the quarter-final. I tell you what, one of the perfect, ideal fixtures we could have got last night, we ended up getting. A team that's in a real relegation battle. I don't think they're going to have the capabilities and the squad depth to even consider challenging for a cup this season. Respectfully, Newcastle should be getting past them, which would be our 3rd semi-final in the past 4 years. What a time it is to be a Newcastle United fan. Which is why it's also depressing to see such a firm history-making statement today from Newcastle United, especially when you look at the history of the training ground, because anyone that's older watching this video that remembers the Durham days when it was Kevin Keegan, the open training sessions, you remember tens of thousands of fans flooding the training ground. They used to always go to the training ground and meet the players, to meet the manager. They used to see the training session, and back then it was mental. I could imagine for anyone that was able to experience that. But even during my childhood, you look back in Newcastle during the Mike Ashley years, even then, you could still go to the training ground during the half-term holidays. You meet the players. Demand wasn't too big back then either, so you could actually have a proper one-to-one with the player when they stop the car. You take your photographs, you have your signature sorted. And past the takeover, first couple of years of the takeover was still sound. I still had a few great times going to the training ground, being able to meet players. And all of a sudden, over the last couple of years, it has got a bit, I would argue, toxic outside now. I'm always someone, I know you guys obviously watch my videos, have had a chance to do so for a long period of time. I don't go to the training ground that much. There seems to be a bit of a misconception where I seem to go to the training ground 24/7. I don't. I honestly only go there now whenever there's a new player coming through the door. So for my videos during the summer window, Isak was a somewhat exception because of the fact that Isak was going to the training ground separately. Of course, that is newsworthy, so I used to go there. I guess more of a journalist than perhaps a supporter. I used to always go there whenever I felt like there was something to talk about or something to cover. But yeah, Newcastle United has effectively banned supporters without it being a ban. Now, Newcastle United legally by law cannot ban fans from standing outside the training ground because it's public land. No matter what the club says, of course, they ask you respectfully not to attend the training ground anymore. But legally, they can't stop you, is basically the situation here, and why Newcastle has unfortunately not quite got the control that we would want. And I want to, I guess, go through the statement first and just to explain fully what's going on. So Newcastle United has said, to ensure the safety of all supporters, players, staff and members of the public, we are asking people to avoid gathering at our training centre, entrance and surrounding roadways. Why are we asking this? The only entrance for players, staff, deliveries and construction vehicles to the current training centre site is a narrow, single public lane that is shared by vehicles and pedestrians. As the number of people gathering at the training centre increases, so does the risk of serious injury with so many vehicles and people sharing a small space. As crowds gather, people are stepping into the lane and creating a risk to their own safety and to road users. Individuals also continue to pose a risk to themselves and others by entering busy roads to approach players' vehicles while at traffic lights up to a kilometre away. That's the big message for me, that little paragraph there. And I want to tell you a couple of stories as well, because this has been something that's happening for a long period of time. But for some of our younger supporters that go there, of course, kids, lads, during the half-term holiday, and the fact that this statement came out during a half-term holiday would actually suggest to me, and unfortunately imply, that something perhaps might have happened earlier in the week, which has maybe instigated the club to then put an official statement out in the social media. But this has happened for ages, by the way. So you get lads there and you'll get kids that basically turn up without their parents. So they'll be there in bikes or be in a group, like whatever, sort of thing. But the issue is, it's not the fact that they're without their parents. The issue is, they will actually purposely go out of their way. So they'll basically go to the top of the road where the cars come out. So when the cars come out, there's then the actual public road. And what those lads would do, they'll go to the bottom of that road and they'll purposely time the traffic lights. So they'll press the button for the traffic lights when the players' cars have just got out of the training ground. And they used to do that on purpose. So, of course, the car is stationary when it's waiting for the traffic light to turn green. The lads would then run onto the road to go to that particular player's car. And that's how they would essentially, behind the club's back, get autographs, get photographs taken. It is mental. I've seen my own eyes, and this is something that does generally happen at the training ground. You get supporters there that strategically go out of their way to stop the traffic just so they can meet the players. And of course, this is an active live road, which doesn't just involve Newcastle United, it involves real public members, which of course would then involve the Northumbria police. And I feel like the club probably gets loads of stick, you imagine, off the police and off the local community for something they've got no control over. Newcastle, time and time again, have stated in recent years that we have stopped autographs, we stopped photographs, we taught staff members, we taught players not to stop their cars for you, and lads continue to go there and still try to look, which is probably the reason, I would say, without looking at anything else, I think is the main reason why this has stopped happening at training ground. Now, I'm a bit displeased, to be honest. I couldn't care less most of the time, but I'm not pleased to see that some people have suggested I'm the reason this has stopped at the training ground. Like, are you mental? I go there to make YouTube videos. Like, I'm never once disrespectful to anyone at the training ground. I never cause a risk or danger to anyone, and they're not my kids. I've got nothing to do with them. I don't safeguard them, I don't look after them, they're not my children, they're not my responsibility. I've always filmed my videos, you guys who watch my videos at training ground. I've always said in my videos things that are going on, I've always said things you should do and shouldn't do at the training ground. Yes, of course, they're not my children, but I do try my YouTube videos to at least let you all know what's going on, hopefully to try and help people out. But yeah, some people still continue to misbehave and do whatever they want, basically. So that's why Newcastle United's firm on it. So they've been said as well, to please avoid the training centre entrance, to support public safety. We have instructed players and coaches not to stop their vehicles upon entry or exit. We do not take this step lightly. We value the incredibly strong support that exists between supporters and our players and coaches, but safety must come first, and we trust our fans will support the club, players and staff by adhering to this request. We will continue to organise opportunities for supporters to meet the players through this season, which will be communicated through newcastleunited.com and official channels. That's the message there for Newcastle United. Do not go to the training ground and attempt to meet the players, is basically what they're saying. And the fact that it's got to that stage for me is a real shame. And I'm almost a bit livid, not with the club, because I can understand the club's point of view, but the thing that pees me off quite a lot is that 99% of people that are there at the training ground are genuine people, you know. There'll be kids that go there that never misbehave, they're there with their parents, they're always respectful, they always treat the players and staff members with respect. And 99% of people, they don't go there every single day. They go there a couple of times, you know, they want to meet the players, they get a chance to do so, and then they go about their day. And the 1% of people, unfortunately, are the ones that are there literally every day of the week. They'll be the ones that will stop the traffic lights. They'll be the ones that will draw on the players' cars. That's happened before. They'll be the ones that will intentionally run onto the road in front of players' cars to attempt to stop the player, which of course then adds quite serious health risks. And they're the ones who just makes it unpleasant. Even when you're there, even when there's nothing going on, you actually hear from some lads sometimes, like, you're talking 6-7 years old, they're using foul language, they're doing very disrespectful things. Like, I might sound like a proper Karen in this video, but trust me, like when you're there at the training ground, you won't believe the background of some of these lads and some of these children. Like, it's just not pleasant at all, and to just see things escalate at this stage where it's got quite, I would say, quite toxic, the training ground. It's not nice at all. It gets to a stage where people just point the finger at me because I feel like I'm an easy target to point it towards, because, you know, I'm the lad there that's making YouTube videos, you know, I'm the one there you could argue is promoting this behaviour. Absolute rubbish. I mean, honestly, sheer rubbish. I do not promote any of this type of behaviour at all. I go to the training ground, I do my videos, I go home, and that's it. And of course, with Newcastle United now, asking people not to do that. Admittedly, I'm not going to deny it. Whenever a new player goes to the training ground, I'm still going to go there and do the videos, because Newcastle United doesn't have a problem with that. They have a problem with people that are standing outside the training ground, acting in quite a dangerous manner and going out of their way to just make it unpleasant for the staff members and players. I'm just in and out, and I would argue for Newcastle United as well, especially with the traction, of course, me being out there, being able to spot players going in. It just helps to build up for eventual club announcements. I would say it does benefit the club in that respect. The message now is act simple, do not go there. The players won't stop for you, the manager won't stop for you, they will drive straight past you. And the message from the club is to wait for official club events for that opportunity to arise. And if I was going to be critical towards the club on anything, I would say it's the club events, because I actually look at the club events last season. This has come from someone as well who was at Singapore this summer. I was in South Korea this summer. there wasn't any real opportunities to meet first team players. There was a couple of Q&A sessions, but the players would go in and they go straight afterwards. There was no real opportunity for fans to actually physically meet the players unless you went out of your way to stand outside the hotel or stand at the training facilities. Newcastle United needs to be able to have these opportunities available, because I'm someone that goes to every game. You know, I'm always at the events, I'm always out and about, I'm always everywhere. I've never seen any real opportunities where fans can actually meet players. There's been a couple of events last season with the Mags Plus membership, which costs you £40 to buy. There's a couple of events last season where you're talking less than 100 people to meet a couple of the first team players, or it might be an exclusive event with a partner like JD where they might put something on. You've got to apply for it, and then 24 hours later you find out whether you can go or not. It's just real strict and real small venues for meeting opportunities. I just don't think realistically there's actually been a proper meet and greet event last season. So I'm hoping Newcastle now, if they're going to be this strict on no one being allowed to meet players at the training ground, hopefully you do get some bigger events on. Hopefully you do more events as well, because players, I think, it's not even just the fans. I think the players themselves need these meeting opportunities as well, because they need to understand the local culture. They need to understand what they mean to our younger fans, what they mean to supporters. So I feel like as well, not just for fans meeting players also need to meet fans. I feel like it's a real healthy, good relationship between the club and players. And I hope that the club doesn't get that disconnection, because you need to keep that there. The training ground's a huge piece of history in terms of how fans actually meet players, and when you took it all away now, it's going to be a real downer for some people. I think the full situation's sad. I'll say it again, there's a lot of people there that have done nothing wrong and they're being punished for what someone else has done, and that's just not on, in my opinion. And I think Newcastle United's got a right to do it as well. I don't even think it's Newcastle United being, I guess, awfully protected or being harsh. I think Newcastle United's got a justified reason for doing this. I don't think some of the supporters there have been behaving at all, and they've been warned time and time again. They're still not behaving. So, yeah, it is what it is. But one final message from me. What do you guys think down below? Do you think this has been harsh towards everyone? Do you think it's a real sad thing to see? Do you think it's my fault, I guess? Because I seem to still get the finger pointed at me quite a bit. It's got nothing to do with me, but yeah, I'm sure you guys have your own opinions anyway. So please do let me know down below. Appreciate you watching as always. Take care, and we will see you all in the next one.